What if downtown Jacksonville is finally reaching the moment people have been predicting for years, the point where living in the urban core shifts from an idea into a real lifestyle choice? For decades, downtown Jacksonville has been the center of business, events, and culture in Northeast Florida. Yet, the conversation around actually living there always carried a sense of uncertainty. People commuted into the city for work, attended Jaguars games or concerts, walked along the river during festivals, and then drove back out to surrounding neighborhoods. The urban core functioned as a destination rather than a neighborhood. Conversations about downtown living often ended with the same questions. Would more housing ever arrive? Would restaurants and retail follow? Would the city create the density needed to sustain everyday life after office hours? In 2026, those questions are starting to evolve. A growing wave of development projects, planning initiatives, and long-term infrastructure investments are gradually reshaping how people view Jacksonville's urban center. New residential developments like the Hardwick Apartments, large-scale planning around the future of the Everbank Stadium District, and a development pipeline coordinated by the Downtown Investment Authority are creating a sense that the city is entering a new chapter. For the first time in many years, the conversation surrounding downtown Jacksonville is less about hypothetical transformation and more about visible progress. The real question emerging now is not whether the urban core will change, but whether enough residents will choose to call it home to sustain a true downtown lifestyle. Downtown Jacksonville has always possessed the physical elements necessary for vibrant urban living. The St. Johns River cuts directly through the center of the city, forming one of the most recognizable skylines in Florida. Waterfront views, bridges connecting both sides of the river, and miles of riverwalk paths create a natural foundation for a walkable environment. Historic buildings scattered throughout the district add architectural character and a sense of history, while modern construction provides opportunities to introduce contemporary residential spaces. Despite these advantages, one critical element remained limited for many years: residential density. Without a significant population living in the core full-time, restaurants and retail often struggled to maintain steady traffic outside of weekday office hours or major events. Many blocks grew quiet at night, reinforcing the perception that downtown functioned primarily as a business district rather than a residential neighborhood. That dynamic begins to shift when housing enters the picture. Developments like the Hardwick signal something meaningful to the broader real estate market. They demonstrate that developers believe residents are ready to live downtown and that the demand for urban living in Jacksonville is beginning to materialize. When new apartment buildings introduce hundreds of residents into the district, the impact extends far beyond the property itself. Each new household contributes to the daily rhythm of the neighborhood. Residents walk along the Riverwalk in the mornings, visit nearby coffee shops before work, meet friends for dinner in the evening, and attend events happening throughout the district. These everyday routines create consistent activity that supports businesses and encourages further investment. Residential density is one of the most powerful forces behind successful downtown revitalization in cities across the country. When people live in the urban core, they generate continuous movement and interaction rather than the episodic crowds associated with office schedules or sporting events. As more housing developments follow the early projects, downtown Jacksonville may begin reaching the tipping point where restaurants, retail shops, and service businesses can rely on a stable customer base rather than occasional surges of visitors. Another major component shaping the future of downtown Jacksonville is the long-term vision for the area surrounding Everbank Stadium. The stadium has always been one of the most recognizable landmarks in the city, hosting NFL games, concerts, and large-scale events that draw thousands of visitors. Yet historically, many stadium complexes across the country were designed as isolated destinations that came alive on game days and remained quiet the rest of the week. Modern urban planning increasingly approaches stadium districts differently. Cities are now designing sports complexes as mixed-use entertainment environments that remain active year-round. In Jacksonville, conversations surrounding the future of the stadium extend beyond renovations to the facility itself. The broader plan includes the development of an entertainment district capable of supporting concerts, restaurants, bars, public gathering areas, and potentially residential components. When stadium districts evolve into entertainment hubs, they can significantly expand the surrounding downtown ecosystem. Instead of serving as a single-purpose venue, the stadium area becomes part of a continuous urban experience where sports, nightlife, and waterfront recreation blend together. For residents living downtown, proximity to this kind of environment can become one of the most compelling aspects of urban life. In many major cities, people pay substantial premiums to live within walking distance of cultural attractions, professional sports venues, and nightlife districts. Jacksonville's downtown has the geographic space and infrastructure necessary to support this type of development, and long-term planning around the stadium district suggests that the city is beginning to lean into that opportunity. If the entertainment district vision fully materializes, downtown residents could enjoy immediate access to concerts, sporting events, festivals, and waterfront activities without needing to drive across the metro area. That level of convenience represents one of the defining characteristics of urban living. In addition to residential construction and entertainment development, the Downtown Investment Authority plays a central role in guiding the city's transformation. The agency coordinates redevelopment strategies, tracks development proposals, and facilitates partnerships between the public and private sectors. Through incentive programs, planning initiatives, and infrastructure improvements, the DIA aims to attract developers who are willing to invest in the urban core. The number of projects currently under review or already moving forward illustrates a growing level of interest in downtown Jacksonville. Proposed residential towers, adaptive reuse projects converting older buildings into apartments, public space enhancements, and mixed-use developments are gradually reshaping the district's physical landscape. Public spaces themselves are becoming increasingly important as part of this transformation. Successful downtown environments often revolve around accessible gathering places where residents and visitors can interact. Jacksonville's riverfront offers one of the most powerful natural assets for creating those experiences. With thoughtful investment and programming, parks, plazas, and waterfront walkways can become central gathering points that strengthen the sense of community within the urban core. These spaces encourage outdoor recreation, social events, and everyday leisure activities that help downtown feel like a neighborhood rather than simply a workplace. Transportation and accessibility further influence the appeal of downtown living. Jacksonville's road network allows relatively easy commuting compared to many larger metropolitan areas. From the urban core, residents can quickly access major highways and bridges that connect different parts of the city. This connectivity allows professionals working in industries such as finance, logistics, healthcare, and government to live near the city center while still maintaining access to employment hubs throughout the region. As remote and hybrid work models continue to reshape professional routines, the value of urban living may increasingly revolve around lifestyle rather than strictly proximity to an office. Residents may choose downtown because it places them close to restaurants, entertainment, cultural venues, and riverfront activities rather than simply reducing commute times. Of course, downtown Jacksonville's residential transformation remains in its early stages compared to cities that have spent decades building dense urban cores. Everyday services such as grocery stores, neighborhood retail, and convenience-oriented businesses will need to expand as the residential population grows. Perceptions surrounding safety, infrastructure improvements, and continued investment in public spaces will also influence how attractive the area becomes for future residents. These challenges are common in urban revitalization efforts across the country, and progress typically unfolds gradually rather than through a single dramatic moment. What makes Jacksonville's situation particularly interesting is the amount of land still available for development within the urban core. Unlike many older cities where expansion opportunities are extremely limited, downtown Jacksonville still contains surface parking lots, underutilized buildings, and redevelopment sites capable of supporting new housing and mixed-use projects. This availability allows the district to grow intentionally over time rather than forcing rapid, high-density construction into already constrained spaces. As new residents move into the area, the environment begins evolving organically. Retail businesses appear to serve the growing population. Restaurants expand to meet increased demand. Entertainment venues find audiences within walking distance. The cycle reinforces itself, gradually transforming downtown into a more active and diverse environment throughout the day and night. The broader population growth occurring across Northeast Florida adds another dimension to this transformation. As Jacksonville continues attracting residents from other parts of the country, housing preferences are becoming more varied. Some buyers gravitate towards suburban master-planned communities with larger homes and quieter streets, while others prefer walkable environments where restaurants, events, and cultural attractions sit just outside their front door. Downtown Jacksonville provides an option for those seeking the latter lifestyle. For residents drawn to skyline views, waterfront access, and proximity to sports and entertainment, living in the urban core can offer a distinct experience that differs from traditional suburban living. Ultimately, deciding whether to live downtown Jacksonville in 2026 comes down to personal priorities. Buyers who prioritize privacy, large yards, and quiet neighborhoods may still prefer suburban communities across the region. But for those interested in walkability, city energy, and immediate access to the riverfront and entertainment districts, the urban core is becoming increasingly attractive. The most significant difference compared to a decade ago is the sense of momentum. Projects like the Hardwick introduce new residential density. Long-term planning around the stadium district promises expanded entertainment opportunities. Development initiatives coordinated by the Downtown Investment Authority continue drawing attention and investment toward the city center. Taken together, these elements suggest that downtown Jacksonville is entering a new phase of evolution. It may not yet rival the dense urban cores found in larger metropolitan cities, but the building blocks for a vibrant residential district are steadily taking shape. For many residents and potential buyers, living downtown no longer feels like a gamble on future development. Instead, it is beginning to look like a forward-thinking lifestyle decision tied to the city's ongoing growth. And as these projects continue unfolding over the coming years, the number of people answering yes to the question of downtown living may continue to rise. I'm Luke Christmas, and it's always Christmas when you work with Christmas Homes.